knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Pages. Let's get lucky.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number one, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number two, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on Sports.
And welcome in a very happy Wednesday to you now here, May the 7th. It is Game Time Decisions on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, and we are getting ready for more playoff action. Just about 28 minutes from now, we'll have Game 2, the opening tip with the Boston Celtics at home taking on the New York Knicks. That'll be followed by another all-important Game 2 at Oklahoma City as the Thunder try to rebound from their opening game loss to the Denver Nuggets. So to say we got a couple of home teams with their back up against the wall in the NBA, I think would be a understatement. And then let's not forget, of course, the NHL in full effect here tonight, round 2 of the playoffs, second game between the current champions there, the Florida Panthers on the road in Toronto, looking to knot this series up at 1 apiece before they head to Florida this weekend. And then we've got the opening game out west between Dallas and Winnipeg. So we got a lot to unpack there. We also have a ton of day-night Major League Baseball, a lot of getaway games already here today. In fact, we've already seen about a handful of games already finished up. The Cardinals blanked the Pirates. Shocker there. San Francisco ends up taking 2 or 3 from the Chicago Cubs. They won 3-1 today. And it looks like the Mets just wrapped up their game against Arizona. Senga handles Merrill Kelly and company. 7-1 was that final. So we've got much more Major League Baseball coming up here over the next hour. We'll see Hunter Green taking on the Atlanta Braves. That's an interesting game coming up just after the top of the hour. The Yankees, with a big 7th inning last night, were able to bounce back and get one from the Padres. And tonight, well, a battle of aces there as Max Fried, who is yet to lose a game for the New York Yankees. Yeah, that's correct. They hope he pitches every game. Taking on Dylan Cease and the Padres. Hasn't been a great start for Dylan Cease just yet, but usually with him, it takes about a month and a half, and then he starts kicking it into another gear. Pretty good pitching matchup in the Bronx. And then, of course, You have got Happy Fade Charlie Morton Day, if you like, or Happy Fade Kikuchi Day, as you got Toronto late night taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Berrios taking on Kikuchi in that one. And then, of course, everyone's favorite is when you look to fade 40-year-old Charlie Morton. Why? Because he throws batting practice, and that's probably the best shot right now. It's probably the nicest thing that I can actually say about that. But that game also coming up in Minnesota for the Baltimore Orioles. So you can tell we got a little something for everybody here tonight. But all eyes are going to be in Boston for the Celtics and the Knicks. Game 2 coming up in just about 25 minutes. The big question there, of course, is will we see anything different from the Boston Celtics in this game? Probably not. And why would you? It's exactly why they are where they are. It's exactly why they are champions. They are going to not take less threes in order to quell any of the criticism that they missed 45 of them in game 1. No, they're going to keep firing away, and they should, because nobody shoots the three better than the Celtics. The question is, what happens if the Knicks play a little bit better as well and Karl Anthony Towns doesn't get into foul trouble by the end of the first quarter? What happens if the Knicks actually shoot better from the free throw line instead of 54%? Who knows? Maybe they can actually make a few more free throws. A lot of unknowns, I think, coming up in this game 1, at the game 2, rather, at the top of the hour, game 1 of night. But I can tell you this, the market is a little bit head scratching. I can't think of any better way to destroy your bankroll this season than to back the Boston Celtics as a double-digit favorite at home. It might have been the worst bet you could have made all year long. Why? Because they didn't cover. The market has always overvalued them. They closed as what? 8.5, 9-point favorites in game 1, lost outright. So what does the market do? Well, of course, they've got to win. So let's make it 2 points higher. This was as high as 11, even 11.5 24 hours ago. It seems to have settled in right around the 10 mark now, and that's probably what we'll get at tip. Now, there is a big line drawn in the sand with the total here, as that, thank goodness for overtime. Otherwise, over-bettors would have been scratching their head going, what just happened? Much like the over-bettors last night with Golden State and Minnesota trying to figure out what just happened in that game. But it did just get over the total in game 1, and you gotta, and I know a lot of folks are asking, well, if you missed 45 threes, what would have happened if they made 6 more? Well, that game would have went flying over the total for sure, and it wouldn't have needed overtime. But that's the big question here, is that the spread got higher and the total got lower. So something has got to give here tonight. And I wouldn't be running to the window to lay double digits with the Celtics at home in any way, shape, or form. I think the better way to look at it is just, if you think the Celtics are going to rout them, well, then play their team total over. It was 110.5 earlier today, and I doubt very much anybody wouldn't think, if they're going to cover by double digits, that they wouldn't score at least 111, 112 points in this game tonight. I think same thing can be said for Oklahoma City and Denver. Very strange. This line was up as high as 11.5, 12 earlier today. And for what has changed from game 1 to game 2, except for the fact that they lost game 1? So will we have a coaching decision to foul players at the end of the game to get possessions? Or will we just get the usual same old from Oklahoma City, where they just run everybody out of their gym? Well, something tells me they're going to have a harder time running Denver out in this series than maybe initially thought. I think that series, along with New York and Boston, I would say buckle up. Anybody that thought this was going to be an easy 4 or 5 game slate for these two teams, ask the Cleveland Cavaliers how that's working out for them right now, as they find themselves in a 2-0 hole. In fact, we are yet to see a home team in the second round win a game. So one of two things is happening. Either the market is overestimating home court advantage here, or we are completely off our rocker thinking that any dog can come back and not only forget about covering, but can win another game in somebody else's building. Well, you're not going to have to wait very long to figure out if it's happening. We saw it happen last night. Indiana takes 2 from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Can the Knicks do the same for Boston? Will the Denver Nuggets send a very loud statement to the West that you forgot about us? Will they head home up 2 games to none? My goodness, it is getting fun. And we are just in the second round of the NBA playoffs. So a lot to be decided here tonight. We'll talk more about these games. Again, the NHL, the Panthers getting ready to drop the puck in that all-important Game 2 in Toronto. Come on back. We're just getting started. Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in. Here we go. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, and we do have one more final, I believe, in Major League Baseball as the Seattle Mariners have come back to beat the Athletics of Sacramento 6-5. It was all Athletics early in that game, but the bats awoke there for Seattle. Shocker, another over in Sacramento. Keep that one in mind. And by the way, Dodgers didn't take kindly to losing to the Marlins last night. They're up 7-0 here in the top of the seventh. Well, like we mentioned, coming up in just about 16 minutes or so, we'll have 2 games in the NBA tonight. First one is going to be that all-important Game 2 between the Celtics and the New York Knicks. And who better to share some tips with than our good friend, Mr. Adam Kaufman, who is in Boston. And I would imagine the town was not happy after that performance in game one. And, you know, I mentioned it earlier. Adam, we talked about it all season long. Laying double digits with the Celtics at home this year was just not a winning proposition here. And yet the market keeps betting this number up. 10.5, 11. Are we sure they're going to blow the Knicks out of the water here tonight?
Yeah, look, I've been on throughout the season with you, and we have discussed the Celtics as double-digit favorites a number of times, and how you're right. It just always feels like the right side is the other side. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to go and lose outright as a double-digit favorite, though obviously we have seen it before. But generally speaking, this is a team that, you know, plays with its food a little bit, lets them hang around. Maybe they get lackadaisical in the fourth quarter, whatever it may be. All of that said, Joe, and I've got this beautiful Boston backdrop behind me here. Maybe there's a little bit of a homerism coming into play. If the Celtics found a way in game one, no matter the final score, just found a way to win that game in overtime or even in regulation, hit that one more three, whatever it was. You talked about all the failures that they had from three-point range, and they were up 1-0 in this series. I would be sitting here and I would be telling you the Knicks with the points of the right side. That said, the Celtics losing the way they did and almost getting somewhat stubborn. I was going to say arrogant. Stubborn's a better word for it in their approach, their refusal to do what has taken them to this point, and just three after three after three after three, and not adjusting in so many ways that they did against the Orlando Magic in the first round, winning in other ways. You know, I think the Celtics are going to answer back in a big way. Remember, they swept this Knicks team during the regular season, won all 4 of those games by an average of 16 points. That's obviously a greater number than the 10.5 that we're talking about right here. And it's not as though Boston, in terms of the offense, played that poorly. It was just kind of a function of, and this is lazy, I get it, but I'm waiting for water to find its level, man. They missed 45 three-pointers, but more than that, they shot 25% on what the NBA's tracking data considers either open or wide open shots. From three-point range during the regular season, on those exact same shots, they shot in the high 30s. So you're talking about a differential in percentage of more than 10 game one versus the regular season. So if they hit, you know, a half dozen of those 45 they miss, Boston might win that first game by 15 points instead of narrowly losing in overtime. I just think water's going to find its level. You're not going to see Boston shoot nearly as poorly in game two as it did in game one. And frankly, I don't think the Knicks are going to shoot as well in game two as they did in game one.
Which leads me back to, I don't understand the total. How in the world are we still lower than what we were in game one? Now, granted, it took to overtime to get to the over there, but if you think the Celtics are going to be much more efficient, and they're not going to stop shooting threes, right? So how in the world are we not getting more than 210 points here? It just seems they're going to drop 120, so team total over. It just seems ridiculous at this number being so low.
Yeah, I think the reason is sample size of the playoffs, and obviously it's only a handful of games, but you know, where it can get lost in the algorithm a little bit is what a good defensive team the Orlando Magic are. Now, that's not obviously true of the New York Knicks, but the Magic, you know, they had to, I feel like I'm sitting here and just picking on the Knicks. It's not like the Knicks are a bad team. They're where they are for a reason, but they are a much better offensive team than they are a defensive team. The Orlando Magic, complete opposite. Lousy offensive team, very, very good, even great defensive team. So they had to make the Celtics work for it a lot more, and there were some inefficiencies to the Celtics offensive game that was a credit to Orlando's defense and the way that they made them play in that series. And so I just think you've seen Boston in the aggregate shoot poorly here so far to begin the playoffs and through 5 games. And so what we're seeing is the book not really taking the matchup into consideration and adjusting to that. Whereas I would rather go the other way. Over in the game, certainly the over on the Celtics team total, because especially given the fact that they are at home, crowd behind them. We know we always see role players perform better in home games in the postseason. I think this is a game that Boston erupts. I have no issue with the Celtics covering the 10.5. I think Boston wins this one big.
So who are the guys that are going to show up here tonight in the prop betting market? Who do we think are going to have big nights? Is it all about the threes tonight, or should we be looking at rebounds, assists? What are we looking at?
Well, threes are relevant. You know, it's all correlated if you're talking about 3-pointers made and you're talking about points scored by certain guys. Obviously, it would be very easy to give you the Jays, right? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. And, you know, for Tatum, he took, what was it? I'm looking here. He went 4 of 15 from 3 in game 1. I'd go over 3.5 makes for him because I think, again, the volume is going to be there for Jason Tatum. But more so, it's the role players for me. I'm talking about Derek White. I'm talking about Peyton Pritchard. I'm talking about the healthy and available, at least healthy enough to play, although he's not going to start, Kristaps Porzingis, who had a goose egg out there in game 1, only played 13 minutes, left at halftime with an illness, obviously never returned. But this is someone in his career against the Knicks as a member of the Celtics, points 30, 21, 21, 22, 14, 15, 34. 15 is the number tonight, over 14.5. I think he clears it. And honestly, I would go over on Porzingis, on White, on Pritchard, all three of them, knowing that, yeah, there's a chance all three go over, but I think almost definitely 2 out of 3 do when you profit that way.
All right, we'll talk Nuggets OKC next here on Game Time Decisions.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star 3 trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they played. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what he was doing taking step-back threes at the end of that regulation when he's got bigs on him and he should be driving to the hole.
It's already bad enough that I'm playing with all these NBA and D1 studs that are unstoppable, and I'm the worst one there, and I can still ball with them. But if I start calling fouls, they'll revoke my privileges. Like, I man up when I play with them.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Let's welcome back in our good friend Adam Kaufman as we get ready for the NBA playoffs game 2 tonight here. First game up, Knicks Celtics. Let's talk about the game after that. The Nuggets on the road taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder, and surprise, surprise, OKC. Yeah, they kind of got caught. But listen, if we're being honest here, it's not like OKC has been pushed in forever. They steamrolled everybody this year. They steamrolled their first go around, and then the minute they got punched, it was like, all right, let's foul everyone, and just everything went off the rails late in that game for them. Do they right the ship here, and are you beating the Nuggets by double digits?
So, do I think they win? Do I think they right the ship? If we're talking about money line parlays, throwing together like, Boston, Oklahoma City, Minnesota tomorrow night, that kind of thing, I'm fine with that. You can get that obviously not too far off of even money. You might have to throw in a points prop or something with it. But, in terms of winning by double figures, and obviously I was just telling you how much I like the Celtics to do so. The reason for that is because, again, I think the shooting is going to find its level. Boston shot so woefully in game one against New York, and the Celtics are a considerably better team to that of the Knicks. The Thunder, as we know, had an amazing regular season, but this is not a team that, like you said, has really been tested all that much this year. Certainly, it has been a long time prior to that game one against the Nuggets that they were truly tested in a meaningful game. Are we including like the NBA Cup final? I'm not. Even if you were, they got their doors blown off by the Milwaukee Bucks. So this is still a team that is young, is largely inexperienced this time of year, and has something to prove. Whereas on the other side, you have a Nuggets team that I really just don't think is that inferior to that of the Thunder when you've got, and I say this with all respect in the world to SGA, who's going to be the MVP this year, you got the best player in the world on the other side in Nikola Jokic, who only a couple of years ago, largely with this same group, was a champion. So, look, I think the Thunder will win. I would take the Nuggets with the points. I don't see OK winning this thing by double figures, and I think in this one, I talked about all the role players there for Boston on the other side that, of the bracket. In this game, I look to the stars. I think SGA has to go off. I think he will go off, and he's going to have at least 25 shots provided he's healthy. And on the other side, I take Jokic for a triple-double at plus money. I saw that earlier in the vicinity of plus 140, plus 150. He played OKC 4 times during the regular season, had triple doubles each of the first 2 meetings, and in the next 2 missed it by a couple, 1 or 2 assists in each one. It was right there. And obviously, game 1 of this series, dude went nuclear, scored north of 40 points, had north of 20 rebounds, and I think he landed at 6 assists. So he wasn't that close to the triple-double. I think they're going to try and take him away just a little bit as a scorer in this one, make him get some of the other guys involved defensively. And if you're doing that, and it's more Gordon, it's more Murray, it's more Brown, maybe even Porter, Westbrook, obviously, I think you will see Jokic out there as a facilitator in addition to getting his 20, 25 points. I don't think he goes for 40 plus, and that means I think that turns into assists. And so, the rebounds are automatic. With OKC has size on the other side, but Jokic abuses them on the boards. He does it every single meeting. And so, to me, and I will be surprised if this goes the other way, the rebounds are the freebie. And you couple that with the assists, again, I would just rather, I thought about, do we go over on points, rebounds, assists, that combo? It's a meaty number, man. It's 50.5. That could be a sweat if the points aren't wholly there. So where does it come from? The production. I think it's just a well-rounded stat sheet for Jokic, who, as we know, that's nothing new. He's already got multiple triple-doubles here in this postseason. So I think it's a great plus money look.
Yeah, and I know they only have one guy off the bench, and it's Russell Westbrook, and he's getting 30 minutes. I mean, he's getting starters minutes, and we're still looking at 12.5 as his point total. And if they're getting blown out, it just feels like until the market adjusts, should it just be Russell Westbrook over his points at this time?
Yeah, it sort of feels like it should, right? Because it's just ironic, all the
crazy
talk of the coaching change when that happened was that because ownership was upset that Malone wasn't playing the younger guys and Westbrook was getting minutes. Well, guess what's happening here in the playoffs? Westbrook's getting the minutes.
True.
Why? Because dude can play. He can still play, and it's the motivational tour. Like first he goes against his former Clippers, now he's got his former Thunder. Who knows what's next for us?
Unbelievable. Adam, we appreciate it. Get ready for the games. Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better, and they can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what he was doing taking step-back threes at the end of that regulation when he's got bigs on him and he should be driving to the hole.
It's already bad enough that I'm playing with all these NBA and D1 studs that are unstoppable, and I'm the worst one there, and I can still ball with them. But if I start calling fouls, they'll revoke my privileges. Like, I man up when I play with them.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network as we are getting ready for the playoffs, the NBA playoffs tonight. Just a couple minutes away from tipping off the New York Knicks at the Boston Celtics, Game 2. Coming up after that, the Oklahoma City Thunder trying to even their series up at home against the Denver Nuggets. But let's not forget, the NHL playoffs back in center stage here tonight. Coming up, the puck will drop in Toronto, Game 2 between the Panthers and the Leafs. Let's welcome in our good friend George Kurtz here, who's getting ready, no doubt, for this game tonight. And the first one, especially as the Panthers, listen, they didn't show up in the first period. That's where they lost the game, because they showed up in the second and third. And it was like watching two different teams. So I would expect they come out less flat here tonight. Ekblad back in the lineup. Feels like physicality is going to be at center stage here with these two teams. What do we get in this all-important Game 2 here, George?
Yeah, as you said it, Doug, I think you put it perfectly there. They did come out flat in Game 1, right? Toronto took advantage. Well, William Nylander took advantage, right? A couple of early goals there, and that sort of settled Toronto as well. Right, settled the crowd, settled the Maple Leafs to get off to that quick early lead versus the Florida Panthers here. I mean, my first thought is this, Joe. Anyone really think Toronto was going to go 2-0 at home against the Panthers? Sweep the first two games? I don't see that. So I just don't. No Stolars tonight, right? That's the big news here. Bennett hit him with the quasi elbow accidentally on purpose. He took a shot from a puck as well here. Maybe that did some damage here. He's not playing. Don't know if and when he'll return. He obviously has a concussion. They're not going to say that, but he obviously has a concussion. Joseph Woll, who's been good. He's been good, and you can make an argument for a good part of the season. He was their starting goaltender. Stole it, though, once he came back from injury there, and he has played really very, very well here. So that's a big difference here. Woll came in, and listen, I think we got to grade him on a curve for what happened in Game 1. Right, he hadn't played in weeks. I mean, it has been weeks, right, since he played here. He gave it 3 goals to the Florida Panthers, but 2 of those goals, I don't know if anybody stops. One was a deflection in front by Louis Tharanen. Once again, don't know if anybody's stopping that. And the other was a great deflection off a shot from the point here, which I think goes in against any goalie at any time here. Deflection in front that was put up top shelf here. The other one, that probably has to be stopped. That being said, I think Florida wins the game, Joe. I mean, I do. I just don't see Toronto winning the first 2 games here and sweeping this. I think Florida is still the best team in the East here. So I think Florida wins the game. As you can see there, I'm on the over as well, 5.5. I mean, I'm on the over anyway with the Tampa Bay Maple Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Even when it's 6.5, generally I'm an over here. You're going to be 5.5? Definitely over. I also added a late play here of the Florida Panthers team total. I'm going to go over there too. I think they win this game 4-3, 5-3, 5-2, something like that. I think they're scoring over 3.5 goals is where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I'm with you here. And again, it was that slow start that really did them in that game, because it was much closer to the Panthers, we know, in the second and third, which they pretty much dominated in the third. They finally figured it out. I think they come out raring to go here tonight in the first, and I'm with you here. I wouldn't shock me either. An over 1.5 in the first period for total goals is not a bad look either. And then we got game 1 tonight, though, with Dallas on their way to Winnipeg, taking on the Jets. And now, are we still, is it the same thing, Holleybuck at home and Fatum on the road? Or does Ottinger steal one on the road? Like, what are we looking at in this one?
Well, would it really be stealing one? Dallas is a damn good hockey team.
Yep.
I don't think it's stealing one at all here. I think Dallas wins the series no matter if all 7 games are being played in Winnipeg. Now, sort of like Toronto with William Nylander getting those 2 early goals here, it would really help Hellebuck and his to relax if they could score early here. It certainly would put his mind at ease here, whether they can or not. We'll see how that goes here. Now, we have all sorts of injury issues with both teams, right? You start with Winnipeg here. Okay, is Scheifele playing? Is Morrissey playing? Scheifele looks like he's going to be a game-time decision here, but he was taking line rushes with the top unit there. So I think he certainly has a better chance to play. I don't think Morrissey has a chance. Dallas is the same thing, right, with Robertson and Heiskanen. I think the Robertson has a much better chance of playing tonight than does Heiskanen. Heiskanen's a definite no here. I sort of expect Robertson to play. So where I'm going with this, I think the offensive guy is going to play, Scheifele and Robertson. I don't think the defensemen are going to play. All right, so I think once again we're going to get goals in this game. I'm going to hit the over in this game as well here, and I want Dallas to win. I think Dallas is the best team in the West that's left. They beat Colorado, might have been the second best team. I don't trust Winnipeg, don't trust Hellebuck. Yep. And Dallas, hey, they both had amazing comebacks in Game 7, right? I mean, fantastic over the weekend. They both came back from 2 goals in the third period. So sort of even there, not much rest here. I'm going Dallas is my favorite play of the night, but I'm going to take the over as well.
You're going to like the over in that spot as well. It does feel like it could have to me, I think it's one or the other. I think it's either a very quick series or we're going 7. It just feels like that's what we're going to get here. And I think if it's a quick series, I think it favors Dallas. George, would you agree with that?
Yeah, because if it's a quick series, it means Hellebuck probably sucked. Right, nothing went right well for them. And Dallas is scoring at will, which they sort of can do. Yeah, we know that they have the talent there. Robertson coming back, Rantanen, Duchesne, Hintz, Wyatt Johnson. You go on and on. The Dallas Stars can roll 3-4 lines at you over and over again with talented players here. Robertson, by the way, if he comes back, it looks like he's going to play with third line here. Think about that. They can afford to bring him back and put him on the third line to sort of ease him into the playoffs. It's a very, very deep team.
It's unbelievable here. Did you, speaking of getting better, did you see Edmonton last night on the road? Comes back again, beats Vegas this time. I mean, should we be looking at Edmonton as our West champs here, or what do you think here? What's it going to come down to?
I can't see Calvin Pickard leading you to the West. Leading to the Stanley Cup. I can't see it.
I know.
But then again, Joe, I might have said the same thing last year with Skinner. I could see Skinner leading you to the Stanley Cup, and he did. Right, they lost, but he led you there. Listen, we all know McDavid and Draisaitl will get going here. They're very tough to stop here. I think Vegas could have a problem. They are outmatched offensively. I mean, they got to a great start last night, and then that's it. All right, you didn't score any more goals yet. You got to be able to score more than 2 goals against Edmonton. You're not going to win 2-1 games against this team. All right, you got to win 3-2, 4-3 games here. So they got to score more goals here. Listen, no Peter Angelo last night certainly hurt. There, Pavel Dorofeev, I know I messed that name up. He's also out. Both could return for game 2, and they need both guys back here. But there's no excuse for injuries, right? So many teams have them. We just went over Dallas and Winnipeg and all the injuries they have. Edmonton doesn't have Matthias Ekholm. He's not going to play this round here. So there's no excuses here. But Vegas needs to hit the back of the net. They had power play at the power play at the power play. Couldn't do it. This is Edmonton. Not the greatest defense. We don't think Calvin McCarr's the greatest goaltender. You have to be able to score more than 2 goals.
Frederick Anderson in goal last night for Carolina. They get it done. I thought we'd get a few more goals in that game, but is that what we're looking at this series? A lot of 1-goal games, you think?
Could Thompson play that well? I mean, that game easily could have been 6-1, 7-1. What did Carolina end up with? Over 130 shot attempts? I mean, and Thompson was pulling saves out of his behind. All right, he was great. He deserved a better fate, especially when the game-winning goal was really a snapshot from the. I guess he didn't see it because it snuck in there. It's what he probably should have saved there. But he kept them in that game. If they don't pick it up, they're not going to have much of a chance here. You're not going to win 2-1 games when you're facing 130 shots. You're just not going to. But yes, I do expect a lot of close, low-scoring games in this series. That being said, I am no longer betting unders in the NHL playoffs. I don't care.
Can't. I don't see how you can, George. We appreciate it as always, my man. Enjoy. Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that river. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome in Game Time Decisions here on this Wednesday on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, and we are off and running. The New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics are underway. Looks like a 5-0 situation here for the Celtics out in front or actually a 9-2 situation, sorry, with under 7 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Hockey game underway, Panthers and Tampa, no score there. And we still got plenty of great games coming up here tonight on the Diamond. Let's welcome in our good friend Mark Zinno, who's keeping an eye on this. Is it Tampa and Philly, I think, underway? And you were looking at a lower scoring early game here with this?
Yeah, look, Shane Baz has been excellent. And even the analytics back all this up about what he's done this year. I know he's coming off a bad start on the road, but he's been much better at home this year. And he's facing a Phillies lineup that's really, really good, but certainly much worse on the road than they are at home. I expect Baz to be able to shut down this lineup. And then the Phillies are starting Christopher Sanchez, who, by all accounts, can be erratic at best, but he's a lefty. And what do we know about Tampa? They absolutely are abhorrent at hitting left-handed pitching. Second worst batting average in all of baseball, second fewest runs scored in all of baseball. They absolutely cannot hit lefties at all. So we get a nice number here at 4.5 and a good price, and we took the under in the first 5.
All right, let me ask you, you're a Yankees guy here. Fried has not lost a game. I don't think he's losing this one here tonight either against Dylan Cease. Were you leaning one way or the other with the Yanks tonight?
Contrarian over for the game.
Over.
I mean, Fried has got to lose something at some point, right? Like he's not going undefeated. So I know that's not exactly the most scientific handicap here, but if it's gonna happen, it'll happen to a competent lineup like the Padres, right? It's not going to happen against the Pirates. It'll happen against a good lineup like the Padres who can hit pretty much anybody. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I would play the first 5 over. I'd play the full game over when you get down to like a 7 number between Cease and Fried. It's just screaming, you know me. When I get that 6.5 or 7, I jump right on the over just because it's so hard to stand by that number, especially with bullpens nowadays.
Yeah, I love the over in that spot there. How about tonight? I said it's Kikuchi's pitching in one spot in the late game, and Charlie Morton is also pitching for Baltimore, and it feels like we should just fade both these guys from now until further notice. Did you fade one of those 2 starters tonight?
I did. I faded Charlie Morton. Look, when I bet baseball, when something is too good to be true, it usually is, right? Like, that's just kind of the way baseball works out when it comes to the betting. It's like, why are the Twins this short of a favorite against a god-awful pitcher who pitched to a 10.8 ERA through his first 5 starts? Hasn't been much better than the bullpen. The Orioles have out of options, so they've got to put him back in the rotation. The Orioles have the 3rd worst bullpen in baseball. The Twins are 6th in Major League Baseball in runs scored at home in the first 5 innings, averaging more than 3.5 runs. Everything here screams the Twins are going to score and win this game. It just seemed too easy, but I couldn't lay off of it. I thought about going Twins team total over, thought about Twins first 5 on the run line. They were getting plus money on the run line. Why? Like, why are they getting plus money against this team? Everything just with the numbers scared the hell out of me. I said, screw it. Don't overthink it. The Twins should win this game, and I grabbed the Twins on the money line. And I agree with you on fading Kikuchi. The Blue Jays know him well, obviously, from him pitching there. But this is not a pitcher right now that should be backed. Jose Barrios has been very solid, with a sub-4 ERA. This is really all about the Angels' bats. The Blue Jays' bats, because the Angels have been god-awful. This is not a good team, despite the fact they're 7-7 at home, and they are 5. The Blue Jays are 5-11 on the road, which is a little bit scary here. But again, all things considered, Barrios keeps the ball in the ballpark. The Blue Jays should come out on top on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they got out of the top of the first, no score there, Philadelphia and Tampa, so the under 4.5 still good to go in that game there. How about did you look at the Knicks and Celtics or Denver and OKC tonight, Mark? Were you leaning one way or the other in game 2s?
Yeah, I mean, I stayed away from the Knicks because, again, I bet the Celtics team total over in game 1, and they couldn't do it with overtime. And that was really annoying because, once again, the Knicks' fourth quarter screwed a bet that I made against them. Maybe I should stop betting against my home team. But we'll have to save that for another day. Beyond that, look, here's what I did with the second game. I don't want to lay 11 with Oklahoma City. I don't think anybody does. Right. And I'm not sure I trust the Nuggets 100% here, given the zigzag theory, given the fact that Oklahoma City, neither one of these teams shot well. Denver didn't shoot well against this defense in game 1. Somehow they pulled out a victory. Somehow they scored 121 points. That said, I think what's going to happen here, at least from a game script standpoint, I think Denver can hang around for a half. And then you know what happens? Weary legs get the better of them on this short rest again for the second consecutive game. You know what happens after game 2? They get 3 days off now instead of 1. They start to space the series out to drag this whole NBA playoff process out. So, and I also believe that here's what happens. If Oklahoma City gets a lead, a double-digit 15-point lead, whatever it is, late in the third quarter, you may see the Nuggets just pull up and go, we got to split, we're good. I'm not going to burn my guys into the ground here. And they may pull up in the fourth quarter and go, we're out of here. We're not even going to try to cover this thing. So I don't know that a backdoor cover is something I really feel. I also don't feel like if Denver is getting blown out by 10 or 12 after the first half, again, I think they push for the first 6-7 minutes of the third quarter. And if they can't close it, then they pull up again. So most of this really led me to believe that Denver was going to hang around for about a half. And I got a fat number here at +7, so I took it.
Yeah, it's not a. It's a great way to look at it too. There, it also feels like that's just going to be a stat stuffing kind of series there. Like, I mean, I'm looking at they got no answer for the Joker. And I think his PRA was 52.5 tonight. It feels like SGA can get 35 a night there too as well, Mark, doesn't it? It just feels like these props are open to us all series long at these two teams.
It's crazy how much we were looking at unders in the first round, and now we're looking at all overs in the second round. I'm not sure if there's any correlation there or what, but you know, the totals have been bumped up by 10, 12 points across the board, and they're going over. Same thing with the Cavs. They're not going to win, right? They're struggling to win over games. I know this. Indiana won't win an under game, right? Like, that's because they're not scoring. So they're not going to win an under game, and that's what Cleveland has to focus on. Same thing for OKC. I don't think Denver wins an under game.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. We got some interesting news here with the Golden State Warriors, an update from Steph Curry we'll talk about when we get back, plus down 0-2 right now, which I'm not sure anybody saw, the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll get Mark's thoughts on the future of those series when game time.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what he was doing taking step-back threes at the end of that regulation when he's got bigs on him and he should be driving to the hole.
It's already bad enough that I'm playing with all these NBA and D1 studs that are unstoppable, and I'm the worst one there, and I can still ball with them. But if I start calling fouls, they'll revoke my privileges. Like, I man up when I play with them.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all. Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. We've got an update for you here in a couple of games right now. Looks like the Texas Ranger Bats have finally woken up. They're threatening right now in their game at Fenway. It also looks like, I believe, a quick 2-0 with Hunter Green and Cincinnati on top of Atlanta. Did you go with Green, Mark, at all? Did you look at him maybe early?
I mean, look, the Reds blew a 1-0 lead in the ninth inning last night and lost in extras, kind of in gut punch style, after getting the better of Chris Sale, or at least outlasting Chris Sale, right, in a game that you want to win. Tonight to come back with Hunter Green has been very good. I don't trust Grant Holmes for the Braves. He's had good starts. He's had bad starts. I don't think he's kind of like a 4A pitcher to me. Like, I just don't think he's a quality starter. He's a back end of the rotation guy at best, so you never know what you're going to get, and he gets tagged early. Plus, I still don't, again, this Braves lineup, for all the names that are in this thing, they have the propensity to just go dark for a while. You know, they did last night, and, you know, this could be a high-scoring game here. Look, it's one of these things with Hunter Green. Like, I bet this live. I'd probably monitor the first 2 innings and see if the Braves put some guys on, and look at his stuff and see how it is, and then maybe jump on the Reds if you're still getting him as a dog in a live manner, because that means Green will probably be on and go 5 or 6 innings, pretty convincing fashion. But again, it's tough for me to bet this Braves team at this point in time. I know people who still think they're really good. I have my reservations about them. We'll see what happens when Acuna gets back. But until then, I'm still skittish on this lineup. They're leading off Alex Verdugo, for crying out loud. What does that tell you?
Yeah, well, that there you go. Giving up in a 2-0 hole already in that one. Also, it was rained out yesterday, but Detroit and Colorado getting ready to go at it. Job Dollander, I believe, same pitchers that were scheduled yesterday. This is 10 now? How many runs is Colorado contributing to any game is my question here. What are you doing with this one?
Look, you know me, like when I look at a line, if I don't like it, I'll look to alternate markets. I think I looked at every alternate market possible for this year. And I just, the Tigers on the road, even though they are one of the higher scoring road teams in the league, it seems to have come in a feast or famine style, right? It's like they score 10 runs or they score 1. They score 12 runs or they score 3. And I just don't know what they get. Look, Chase Dollander, who starts for the Rockies, has been bad. He's got a 6.48 ERA, a 1.52 whip. He's given up 8 bombs already on the year. And so, do you trust the Tigers to score a bunch? Yes, but I don't want to take their team total at 5.5. It's just not a number I'm going to get comfortable with ever, right? 4.5 is tough enough to clear, even with the Rockies bullpen, which, oh, by the way, is not as bad as people remember it. Like, typically it's been one of the worst ones in the league. It's very middle of the road this year. It's not as bad as it's been in years past. So it's like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to count on 7, 8, 9, the at-bats in those innings for them to be able to score. And so, they could win this game 5-1 and it stays under. So you don't know what you're going to get from the Rockies offensively. Jackson Jobe has been good, but he's been hittable. He's also walked 14 batters in 24 innings. That's a bad sign. So there's a lot I just couldn't find a way to get really comfortable with a bet here. At 9.5, that probably felt like the safest over there is. I know it's been bumped up to 10 right now, but you need the Rockies probably to get to 3 or 4 if you really want that thing to go over.
I agree with you. It's
better
in game.
4.2 runs per game at home, Joe. 4.2 runs per game, which sounds high, except you play at Coors Field.
Correct. It should be 6, 7 runs per game. That's the problem there. All right, so we heard Steph Curry out for at least a week or maybe more. They ended up getting the first game last night. Minnesota's Jekyll or Hyde. Let's face it, you got Cleveland now down 2-0 against Indiana, going to Indiana. So who has a better chance of winning the series, Golden State or Cleveland?
Probably Golden State. Look, they've had success without Curry. And I think that, still, this is a Minnesota team with holes. And you saw last night, Golden State is a good defensive team, not great. You want to discount it as a really bad shooting night? They scored 31 points in the first half. The Warriors can score 31 points in a quarter. The shooting was bad. And Minnesota has had this offense that goes through these droughts, especially if Ant-Man isn't going off. He's really predicated on everything. And Golden State knows how to guys and keep them out of their way. So, let's see what Golden State's offense looks like without Curry for a full game. That may be the ultimate equalizer here.
Yeah, Buddy Hield certainly has stepped it up, but the Cavs have all sorts of injury concerns too, which is just unbelievable. So plenty more to go, though, as we've got a lot of games left. 24-11, Celtics on top of the Knicks. Mark, we appreciate it as always. Game Time Decisions. We'll be back after this.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star three trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what he was doing taking step-back threes at the end of that regulation when he's got bigs on him and he should be driving to the hole.
It's already bad enough that I'm playing with all these NBA and D1 studs that are unstoppable, and I'm the worst one there, and I can still ball with them. But if I start calling fouls, they'll revoke my privileges. Like, I man up when I play with them.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. Just a quick update. The Florida Panthers, Toronto Maple Leafs. Boy, there's been a lot of power plays already in the first period. We had 2 for Toronto already. Florida finally got a power play opportunity, and they just scored, in fact. Barkov gets it in, so it's 1-0 Florida, but I think the message is being sent that if you're thinking about retaliation or anything else, the refs, the whistle is alive and well there in this hockey game. But let's not forget, we are T-minus now a week away from the next major on the PGA Tour season with the PGA Championship. Let's bring in our good friend Brady Cannon. And before we get to that one, Brady, we've got a signature event, which means a ton of money in a very interesting golf course in Philadelphia that, quite honestly, I'm fairly sure you and I can pretty much hit it with how short it is here. But there's one guy strangely absent in this tournament. What's going on? No, Scotty, did he have so many birdies? He's exhausted. He needed to take a tournament off, Brady? What do you think?
He emptied the tank, that's for sure. Set a PGA Tour record along the way with a 72-hole score of 253. That was set previously by Justin Thomas at the Sony Open and Ludwig Åberg in his first PGA Tour win at the RSM Classic in 2023. Only 3 guys now for 72 holes to reach 253. I guess Scotty's taken this week off. You know, you're allowed to take one of the signature events off, I guess, if you're qualified for them. And Scotty has chosen apparently to take this one off the last few years. I didn't really realize that, but I read something like that. It's just kind of always been the one that he has decided to skip. But hey, the rest of the field is loaded. He's really the only guy that's not here. And that's a break for everybody else, bettors included like you and I. Yeah, I can't wait to see this golf course, Joe. The Philadelphia Cricket Club, the Wissahickon course. But an A.W. Tillinghast design, who's a legend in the business, responsible for Baltusrol, Winged Foot, Ridgewood Country Club, Bethpage Black, of course, where we've seen a number of major championships and where they'll have the Ryder Cup coming up this fall. So this guy is a legendary course designer. And it's great to go back to these old school places. The course was restored, and lengthened and that type of thing to kind of bring it up to modern day standards back in 2013. The bad news is, though, I think we're going to get another situation where these guys are tearing this course apart because we've had rain.
Right.
And when the golf course gets soft, it just doesn't matter. These guys can throw darts and tear it apart. The winning score proposition bet out here at the Westgate Superbook early in the week was 19.5 under par, which is pretty aggressive. I thought it, like I saw speculation that the winning score would be closer to 15 or 16, but then you get this moisture in the forecast. They opened it up at 19, and it's actually been bet to 20.5 under par. So, it's kind of a bummer. I hope it doesn't go that way. There's one day where it looks like we might get a little bit of wind on Saturday in the neighborhood of 15, 20 miles an hour. But it's supposed to rain on Friday, 75% chance of rain on Friday. So I think you're going to unfortunately get a soft track that these guys will be, probably slicing and dicing on their way to 20 some under par. But that's fine. We get to see the best players do it anyway. And it's nice to see a new track. I wish we would do more of this more often and bring back some of these classics.
Yeah, as I understand, there's a million bunkers. They're all in and around the greens. You got some blind shots, which is always fun. So it'll be good. Plus, it's all about a big tune-up there, obviously, before the PGA Championship in a week. But it is a little chalky with Rory up at the top. So give me some numbers and some names of some guys with a good payday that we should be looking at.
Yeah, I swerved the first few guys on the board and landed on Patrick Cantlay. I had a theme this week, Joe, that I went with guys that have had success on bent grass greens. The whole course is bent grass, the fairways and the greens. The greens are, those old school elevated greens with the bunkering surrounding and the rough, and a lot of tiers on these greens and subtle breaks. But guys that have had success on bent grass greens and also in the northeast part of town and part of the country rather, and on Tillinghast designs. And Patrick Cantlay is absolutely one of those guys. Finished third at Bethpage Black at 2019 in the PGA. He's won at the Memorial in Ohio twice on bent grass greens in the Northeast, and then also Caves Valley in Maryland. So really the better part of the success of this guy's career, Patrick Cantlay, has been in the Northeast on bent grass greens. And, not knowing anything about this golf course, you kind of have to go with, okay, who fits the bill here on this type of classic design in this type of part of the country, that type of thing. Cantlay is absolutely one of those guys. I got him at 21-1. And then I went with Hideki Matsuyama at 33. I started punching up all these golf courses, and this guy's name is everywhere. 16th at Bethpage in 2019, 17th at Winged Foot in the 2020 U.S. Open, 15th at the Northern Trust at Ridgewood, and 4th at the 2016 PGA at Baltusrol. Those are all Tillinghast designs. 4th at the Country Club at Brookline in 2022, 10th at Marion. You remember Justin Rose won the U.S. Open in Marion. That's about 12 miles away from where we are this week. So Matsuyama's just all over the place on these classic Northeast golf courses. So I took a shot with him as well. And then I went with Keegan Bradley, Mr. Northeast himself, went to St. John's from Vermont, has won at Aronimink in the area, has done well at the Country Club in the Boston area, the 2022 U.S. Open. And oh, by the way, he's the Ryder Cup, which will be played at a Tillinghast design, Bethpage Black. So I think Bradley makes a bunch of sense, hits the irons really well, drives it long and straight. Got him at 50-1. And then Justin Rose. I mean, we saw what this guy did a couple weeks ago at Augusta. And look at the classic courses where he's won before. Shorter classic courses, by the way. Pebble Beach, Aronimink, Muirfield Village, and Congressional, and of course his lone major championship in 2013, 12 miles up the road at Marion in Philadelphia. So I think Rose makes a bunch of sense. And then finally, Willie Z. Willie Zalatoris at almost 100 to 1, 93 to 1. You know, this guy, you remember in 2022, two of my correlated courses, the Country Club at Brookline and Southern Hills, he finished runner-up at both of those championships. This guy was also sixth at Winged Foot at the 2020 U.S. Open, a Tillinghast design. So I think Willie Z makes a bunch of sense this week. We're going to see if it works, but that's pretty much the formula I went with. Guys that play well in the Northeast on classic courses, bent grass, Tillinghast. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, I love some of these head-to-heads you got, too, because I knew Harris English would make an appearance at some point here. Brady, you've already cashed a ticket with him this year. You got him in a head-to-head against who this week, you like?
Yeah, against Rasmus Højgaard. And Højgaard's one of those guys that's come over from the DP World Tour, and there's a lot of hype about this kid, and deservedly so. He's got a bunch of talent. But I think Harris English is that old soul that can play a classic design like this. You know, he's been around the block a few times, finished third at that U.S. Open at Winged Foot. Højgaard's kind of that new breed of a bomber, and, you know, I don't know if he's going to be ready for this particular test this week. So went with English there. JJ Spawn is an underdog over Ben Griffin. I think that'll be a tightly contested match. What I felt was closer to a pick'em, and getting plus money with Spawn I felt was good. And then Aaron Rye over Sam Burns. Burns has been in lousy form. And Zalatoris is a big dog to Taylor Pendrith.
I love all of those, and I think it's going to be a fun week. I'm looking forward to seeing this golf course, and I'm with you. I think they should do more of this here. All right, Brady, we'll talk to you again on Friday. Game Time Decisions continues after this.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what he was doing taking step-back threes at the end of that regulation when he's got bigs on him and he should be driving to the hole.
It's already bad enough that I'm playing with all these NBA and D1 studs that are unstoppable, and I'm the worst one there, and I can still ball with them. But if I start calling fouls, they'll revoke my privileges. Like, I man up when I play with them.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. And I'd love to give you an update and say there's 1,000,000 points that the Celtics have just been lighting it. Nope. 30-23 right now, 7 minutes ago in that game in Boston. Definitely not trending like the Celtics are going to make a whole lot of points here. But let's bring in our good friend Scotty Wetzel, who will take over here coming up top of the hour for In-Game Live. And Scotty, I'd love to say that, yeah, it's all systems go for the Celtics, but they look just as bad as they looked in game one.
Yeah, as we were saying in the break there, Joe, so much for Boston can't shoot as badly as they did in game one again, right? So naturally they're going to have to win game two. Yeah, it's not, maybe it's not as bad, but it's right on pace. I will tell you that. In fact, percentage-wise, it's worse. At least they got 15 out of 60 game one, which was 25% from threes. Right now they're 3 of 14, which is only 21% from threes. 24 points, only 6 here in the second quarter. We're 5 minutes in. 30 points. I love the team total over. I wasn't going to fool around with the game total because I wasn't sure what the Knicks were going to produce today. And I did like the Boston team total. I still do. It's down to 100. But this is not what Celtic fans and most people thought was going to happen. I think most people figured they did have an 11-point lead, 24-13 after one.
Yep.
But it just, they can't hit the broadside of the barn. I mean, Porzingis is playing tonight. He has got 6 minutes. He's done basically nothing. 1 rebound. That's it. He's out of the game. Didn't start. I don't know if they're going to bring him back or not. No shots, no assists, no 1 rebound. So I don't know how effective he's going to be. So the Celtic team could be in a little bit of trouble. I still think somewhere along the line they're going to hit 100 points. I really would be surprised if they didn't do that, Joe. But it's not looking good.
Yeah, the problem is that they're playing into the Knicks' hand by playing this style of game. And that Knicks are going to want to muck it up, and that's exactly what they're doing. So 30-23, 7 minutes ago in the second quarter. How about the game after this, though? Talk about, we have not had a home team win a game yet, Scotty, in the second round of the NBA playoffs. It has been a contrarian's dream. And here we are laying double digits again with OKC tonight. What do we think we're going to get?
Yeah, and when you consider Golden State won the last game at Houston in the first round, we've had 6 straight road teams and 6 straight underdogs all win and cover. First time ever. So I got to use the same philosophy, Joe. OKC losing, at least they did score some. It wasn't because of the points, but I'm going to go over 120 and a half OKC point total. They average 120. They have to win. Are they the better team? Maybe that is debatable. Who knows? But I do think they get their points tonight. This wasn't like the Celtics where the shots just weren't falling. They just kind of, they had a double-digit lead. They took their foot off the pedal in game one and got screwed with it. I think they come back flying tonight. I wouldn't touch the laying the 10 and a half. That's a lot of points in a playoff game. This is not like the 90s and early 2000s where you might win game one, but then you blow off game two. We've seen Indiana yesterday do it. We're seeing the Knicks play fairly competitive right now. I don't think Denver, veteran team, is just going to throw away game one. So I'm not going to lay the double digits. That's a big number. So let's go over 120 and a half OKC team points.
Yeah, and so it feels like that's going to be a great series for guys in the prop betting market just to stack some stats, man. It looks like guys like SGA, every game, you might as well just look at their over points prop. Is that a good philosophy here?
Yeah, let's go with the chalk. It's a big number, 32 and a half points, right? But he's got to come through. He just has. He's their main guy, obviously. So I'll take my chances. He gets 33. I'll go with Lou Dort over 9.5 points. He had that nice little run there where he was hitting back-to-back threes. I think he gets 10 points. The secondary guys will step up. I really do think OKC is going to put 125 or so points on the board. And if that's the case, these guys will hit their numbers. But I chose those two to stand out.
Yep, I like it there. All right, in the NHL, we got 2 power play goals, 5 power plays called in the first period. It is knotted up at 1 apiece, so the over 1.5 in the first period hits with Florida and Toronto. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what we get from this Dallas team here tonight on the road against Winnipeg. Listen, Hollybrook, you gotta bet them at home, right? Is that how it works, or are we not doing that?
Yeah, I'm going to go over 5.5. I mean, it was a 4-0
There you
under regular season series. It was, but boy, it's been nothing but overs, Joe, in the postseason. You know, if Florida and Toronto was a 3-1 under, and we're on pace for another over tonight with that game after having it over in game one. So Jets are 6-1 over against St. Louis. Dallas was 6-1 over against Colorado. They're keeping it 5.5. I'm going to go over. I'm going to buck the regular season trends. And here's what I do love. Not that I don't love that one, but Jake Ottinger, goaltender for Dallas, right? Over 24.5 saves tonight. He's had 10 games against Winnipeg. He's had 25 saves or more in 7 of the 10 games that he finished, including 2-1 this year. He left 1 game injured. He's had 25 or more saves in 6 of the 7 games against Colorado in the first round. And on the road this season, he averages 29 saves, which is where they are tonight. At home, only 26. So clearly they don't play as well on the road for whatever reason defensively. They give up a few more shots. I would be real surprised if Winnipeg didn't put 25 shots, or at least you figure a couple of goals. So they're going to need about 28 to 29 shots on goal. Numbers say Ottinger's going to get this. Over 24.5 saves, Jake.
I love that. And if you take a look here in Major League Baseball, I was talking to Mark Zinno earlier, and I just can't wrap my head around how many runs are we getting from Colorado at home tonight against Detroit. How did you approach it? Just take Detroit and be done with it, or did you look at the total?
No, believe it or not, Colorado's the number 2 under team in all of baseball. They can't score. It's amazing, right? You wouldn't think that. Colorado, and at home as well. So we'll take Detroit minus the 170. Won't fool around with that. We'll take Kansas City against the White Sox, who just stink. I know they did win 1 game of this series. It's just underway. And then we'll go over 4.5 strikeouts. Jackson Jobe there for Detroit. Colorado's the number 1 strikeout team. And then we'll go under Kikuchi for the Angels against Toronto, because the Blue Jays are the number 2 least strikeout team behind San Diego.
Yep, fade the Mortons and the Kikuchis of the day. That's what we got there. Scotty, we'll see you here at the top of the hour as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star 3 trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Pawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what he was doing taking step-back threes at the end of that regulation when he's got bigs on him and he should be driving to the hole.
It's already bad enough that I'm playing with all these NBA and D1 studs that are unstoppable, and I'm the worst one there, and I can still ball with them. But if I start calling fouls, they'll revoke my privileges. Like, I man up when I play with them.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network as we get ready to close out this edition with you. Coming up in just a few minutes here, top of the hour, Scotty Wetzel and company will pass off the baton for In-Game Live, and they will have you covered with everything that's going on here tonight. We got some good ones right now, except for what's happening with the Celtics and the Knicks. It's just not a good display of offense at all, as it's 46-30 now. Boston has finally put a couple of possessions back to back in which they've been able to score, but the New York Knicks have been stuck at 30 points for the last 5 minutes here. Can't seem to make a shot. They're now down 16, just under 3 minutes to go in this one there. I had mentioned to you also the first period comes to a close in the Stanley Cup playoffs round 2 between the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. I counted 4 power plays in the first period as the refs seem to be blowing the whistle very often here. Both goals were scored in the power play, one by Florida, one by Toronto. That is 1-1 currently in the first there as they are at the break. Second period coming up. The total in that game was juiced to the over 5.5. And I got to tell you, I thought that might have been a little bit low. 6.5 right now in game. And I believe Florida still right around a -150 favorite there. Interesting scores in Major League Baseball right now and some games still to come. We had mentioned Toronto and the Angels will be coming up at 9:30 Eastern time. Also, you've got Colorado taking on Detroit in Colorado, a game that was canceled yesterday. Same pitchers here tonight with Job and Dollander for Colorado. But the question is, how many runs are we going to get from Colorado in that game? It's still sitting at 10. And if you think Detroit does all the heavy lifting, we're going to find out here. But the Yankees and the Padres are in quite the pitcher's duel right now with Max Fried on the mound for the Yankees, Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. And they have done a pretty good job of limiting any damage here. I think just 1 or 2 hits, but Judge is up with first and third in the third inning. We'll see if the Yankees can pull ahead here, but Max Fried has been everything the Yankees have hoped for in an ace this year, which is great news since, you know, they found out that Cole wouldn't be pitching this season, but they haven't lost a game yet with him on the mound, and they're going to try to keep that record going. We are also seeing, I believe, a 2-1 game now, Texas and Boston. That game in the bottom of the fourth. That's a pretty good pitcher's battle as well. Tyler Mahle taking on Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck had one bad outing against Tampa Bay where he gave up 11 or 12 runs. But outside of that, his numbers have been very, very good, especially at Fenway Park. Just a 2-1 game. And Tyler Mahle's only given up, I think, 5 total runs in 7 starts this year for the Texas Rangers. He's lost his last 3 games, not because he pitched badly, but because his team couldn't score any runs. They seem to have figured some things out offensively, although it looks like we've got back-to-back home runs by the Red Sox to get that tied up now at 2 apiece. No score with the White Sox and the Royals. Waka on the mound taking on Cannon there. Royals, to say that they have the White Sox number, I don't think does it justice with how dominant they have been over the White Sox the last couple of seasons, and they're doing it again this year. No score there, and no score top of the second with good old Charlie Morton on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles in Minnesota, taking on S. Woods Richardson there. Minnesota handled business in game 1 last night. Baltimore is going to try to salvage this game here, and Philadelphia puts a run on the board to make it 1-0, bottom of the third in Tampa. So you've got just a little something for everyone, including a 3-0 Reds lead right now. Hunter Green on the mound, bottom of the third, taking on the Atlanta Braves, and the offense finally alive here for the Reds a little bit. 3-0 in that game. So buckle up. We got much more coming your way here tonight on the Sports Grid Network. In-game live is coming up next. They will have everything in real time as it's going on for you guys, keeping you abreast of everything, while Game Time Decisions, well, we'll be back again tomorrow. Enjoy the games. Let's cash those tickets. In-game live next here on the Grid.